Hello everyone, let's study lesson 6, Monday's lesson, Baal Peor. Well, in this lesson, we study in Numbers 25 the sin of Israel with the Midianite women, when Balaam, one of prophet of God, accepted and bribe an offering to curse Israel people. In this history, in this episode, we can see the harlotry, the physical harlotry that leads Israel to spiritual harlotry. That is the goal of Satan. And so, on the first question of this day, I can get 5 lessons. First lesson, the lesson of value. Sometimes we don't understand how God values some principles, some laws, some commandments. It's so important to God, it's not so for us. Second lesson, physical harlotry. With the Midianite women, the men of Israel fall into the physical harlotry. But unfortunately, this kind of sin leads to a spiritual harlotry. And we can see that in Hosea chapter 4. On lesson, we can study this too. Lesson 3. I like to do only my will, not the will of God. This is a problem. Why? Because God has mapped, God has a purpose to my walk, into my salvation. So, probably, I need to understand what is the wish, what is the will of God. Fourth lesson, the power of witness. When we can witness about God, probably we are walking to Him. But Israel is so far from God, they brought us an important lesson. What is the lesson? Every day we can fall into sin because the temptation comes to shake my weakness, right? But there are important aspects that I like to emphasize. Probably when the men of Israel fall into the physical harlotry, they allow themselves to be seduced by the Midianite women. Fifth lesson, I don't get witness of God. Well, if I fall into sin because I allow to be seduced, my witness is for me and not for God. This is so sad. How this can happen to me and the Israel people? By hardening their conscience with the first sin, the physical one, they were ripe for falling into the later one, the spiritual one. So Satan has a special attention to the religious people when he decided to walk beside God.